What is up, everybody? We are back for another edition of the NFT Roundtable. We're breaking down another wild week in NFTs here. Never a slow week in Web3, and this one was no exception here. Welcome anyone new to the show. Happy to have you here. If you're lurking in the YouTube or Twitter streets, feel free to drop some comments in the chat and chime in throughout. We always want to hear some more opinions in here. I'm your host, Ghost. I'm joined by the full Lucky Trader squad today. We're rolling deep. We've got Logan, editor-in-chief over at Lucky Trader, Clay Maxey. We got Jason, who's the NFT lead at Lucky Trader. He's rocking the CryptoPunk PFP. Loves to tell us all to get off his lawn there. He's the old head of the group. And then finally, we've got Tyler, our Lucky Trader content star over there, the host of the Lucky Lead and the writer of the Morning Minute. He's rocking the Pudgy Penguin PFP. How are we all doing today, guys?
Doing well. We got the Masters week about to start. Spring is springing around us. The temps are improving in Chicago. It's been a great week.
I want to say just I want to see Klanosaur and Nakamigos updates for our intro. You guys, you got to stop rocking the Wolf game and the Lucky Duck.
Yeah, well, I agree there. And we saw some updates from Klanosaurs that I know Logan was talking about earlier. They put out a game today, so some exciting news out of the Clay universe over there. Maybe we'll get to that eventually. But today we're going to be talking a lot of the top news from this week. We saw OpenSea Pro come out. The marketplace wars are back. We've got the Genesis NFT from them. We'll talk a little bit about that. Elon shook things up on Monday with his meme card post. Yuga and Gucci are collabing on a necklace, and we've got more there. So we're going to hit on all those topics. Just a quick reminder, none of this is financial advice. None of us know anything. Don't listen to us. Just we're here for the fun and the vibes and to talk a little bit about our own feelings here. So, and if you like this content, check out our Roundtable article each week that drops alongside the show. We just dropped it a couple minutes ago. It hits on a lot of these same topics in writing form there. So check that out if you prefer that content there. But let's get into our first topic here. OpenSea is punching back. All right. And I have to say, for anyone who's watched the show in previous weeks, I have been doing AI art for a lot of these, and I switched over to Midjourney this week, and it is 1,000 times better than DALL-E was. So my prompt there was a marketplace clash between an orange hand and a blue hand, and I thought that was a pretty good there for a quick generation.
Did it pick the music for you as well?
No, I did that one on my own. I wanted that battle theme there, So you're getting a great look into the mind of Ghost here. But let's talk about OpenSea here. So OpenSea had a very interesting move this week. Where are my slides here? Here we go. All right. So OpenSea's been struggling a bit, as we know, since the launch of Blur. As you can see from this chart from the Milk Road here, which I thought kind of laid it out really well. They've really been bleeding market share to Blur ever since Blur integrated the new reward system and the Blur token. In 2021, we saw OpenSea really dominate the market, lost their significant market share recently. And they've been trying to do different things to gain that back. And we saw them initially drop the platform fees down to 0%. They made royalties optional. They really didn't move the needle there. A lot of people felt like that was a reactive move. But now this week, we saw a bold move again to regain its footing by embracing the NFT trader user base and providing some new rewards here. So we had this announcement on Monday there. OpenSea CEO Devin Finzer, along with the OpenSea Gem team, announced that the Gem is transitioning to OpenSea Pro. This new marketplace is going to offer several new features, including advanced functionality like trait-based offers, max-priced orders, batch transfers, mobile integration, optimized gas fees, and for a limited time, 0% marketplace fees during a promotional period. They did quietly bring back the royalties there, or the marketplace royalties, so that was interesting to see. Gem was an early aggregator and sweeper for those who weren't super familiar with it. They were acquired by OpenSea in April of 2022. I actually pulled this article from today, and it was interesting to see them note the Pro Experience headline on the blog there, which was pretty prescient given the new platform. And then I also pulled a quick little teaser video so we can take a look at what they released yesterday.
That's a good video.
Yeah, pretty slick video there. And so a little bit more. Gem, or the platform also released a Gemesis NFT as a reward for early gem holders, and they've been teasing some new NFT rewards in the future. I don't believe that the Gemesis NFT is going to be anything more than a commemorative one, but people have been speculating on it. And the collection has seen over 2,500 ETH in sales volume, holding a 0.04 ETH floor price on the free mint. So people don't seem to care that they are kind of saying that this is just commemorative NFT there. And we even saw one of the worst fat fingers of all time. This one's just down horrendously there. Someone bought one of these by accident. I think they were trying to do a blur farming or something along those lines, but they bought one for 100 WETH there. So just down tremendously, and you hate to see it there. But it brings up a couple questions for the group here. I'm curious to hear if this move from OpenSea gives Blur some serious competition in the market again. Are you planning to move over there at all? And do any of the features really stand out to you as innovative?
I can jump in. So I did, once this announcement came out, I kind of immediately went over to OpenSea Pro and I started trying to trade on the platform, get an overview, whatnot. Like trying is a key word there. I don't know if it's because a lot of folks were using it, or if it's just not quite ready for the support. It was very laggy for me. It was actually quite difficult to trade. In fact, I was trying to trade their Gemesis NFT on their platform, but it was impossible with how quickly it was getting swept by degens speculating on that commemorative NFT. So, in fact, I was forced back to Blur, and that is where I ended up doing most of my trades. It brings up, it's a nice marketplace. They've got some cool features. I like the instant sales a lot, especially like I have a lot of meme cards. I have a lot of edition art that is very difficult and time intensive to go click through and sell. It's much easier to do that on OpenSea Pro. But I was talking about this with Jason before the show. It almost feels like it might be it's too little too late. And I'd be curious for his take and a little bit more there as well.
Yeah, so I think me and Logan are sort of the dads of the group. Neither one of us trade that much, and so this doesn't interest me personally really at all. I'm not going to use these tools. I maybe sell an NFT once every few months, if that. Haven't sold one in months. But I do think, just generally speaking, that the companies with the most money and who have been around the longest are eventually just going to copy the other companies and win out. I told Tyler, I think Blur's farming rewards only get them so far. They've got them very far thus far. But eventually the farming rewards run out. And if they're not doing something substantially better than OpenSea, then they're not going to win. And I just think OpenSea, with its resources and its investors, should probably win here. But yeah, I'm maybe not the one to talk here since I don't trade.
Yeah, no, I think that. I'm sorry. I was going to say, I think that was a key component that, like, they're not doing anything, any one thing like dramatically better than really any other marketplace. It seems ridiculous, but even if you were to go to like LooksRare at present time, I mean, you can basically do whatever you want to do on all of these marketplaces with few exceptions, depending on the type of trader that you are. So yeah, I ultimately like it. It's kind of a nothing burger to me in terms of like individual action. Like I'm not going to be changing my day to day as a result of the new release. But I found this announcement to be a bit more positive overall. I know Ghost talked about it this morning on the Lucky Lead, the impact of competition, and feeling like OpenSea in many ways. I personally felt like OpenSea was a bit more proactive with this versus some of their previously reactive announcements, and so that to me is a small positive here.
I think my concern is I wonder if Blur has built up enough of a usability moat that it's going to be harder for OpenSea to cross back. And like what I mean by that is, when I was talking with Jason, he was like, if this marketplace isn't substantially better, and I can't, pick up the nuances in a few minutes, I don't know that I'm even going to spend the time to use it, and I'm just going to use what I know. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. Like Blur is my home base. It's where I log in every morning to check in on the market, see what's trending, what the volumes look like, things like that. That's where I come to do my trades. It's natural, and now it's unnatural for me to use OpenSea Pro. And if I don't have serious incentives, I don't know that I'm going to switch. And I think that's the problem they're going to face across this market.
It's interesting to hear that too, because I feel like most of our home bases back in the earlier days of NFTs was OpenSea, and we were having kind of this same conversation in the beginning, probably when Blur launched, of being like, oh, are people really going to change their trading habits when they're so comfortable on OpenSea? But Blur put out a product that was really good, and even we talked about this before they even dropped the Blur token. Like, I enjoyed trading on Blur even prior to having incentives, and now with the Blur token incentives, it was just huge. And so we're seeing that OpenSea is trying to provide some sort of NFT rewards, but I'm curious to hear from the group how they feel about the NFT rewards as opposed to just an OpenSea token, which I know a lot of people have been clamoring for, or how do you drive value to that type of reward system that comes in the form of NFTs?
The token's never coming. OpenSea's never doing a token. Their cap table probably doesn't allow for it, and they make way more money not doing a token. I think that the rewards are unnecessary. I think OpenSea can win without rewards. The NFT rewards are definitely unnecessary. I mean, I'm not sure that anyone really wants that. Just create a product that is super easy to use and that new users will use, and attract those new users. And the same problem that OpenSea has right now, getting Tyler back from Blur will have getting the new people to switch over from OpenSea. So.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I almost wonder if it would have been better not to do a rewards program at all versus an NFT-based rewards program that people are already kind of just talking shit about, just to be blunt, right? And that's probably the most negative portion of the sentiment I've seen on NFT Twitter since this news. It's not related to the functionality or the marketplace. It's just like, why didn't I get more money? And you're just going to give me NFTs instead of a token, and folks seem to be upset about that. It's hard to what are these things going to be? Like, how are they going to reward us with NFTs? Like, what and why is anyone going to want to buy those NFTs from us? It's very hard.
This is the same issue I think that NBA Top Shot has, giving out new Top Shots as rewards for holding Top Shots. Like, no one wants them, dude. Like, it's not a reward if it's worth $0. Like.
Yeah, I was surprised to see the Genesis token. I felt like it was very similar to the Coinbase base drop, and I think we saw a lot of similar speculation on that. We saw people scooping up all the bases, hoping that it was going to be some sort of token, and as far as we know now, it didn't really do anything, and those kind of trended off. I personally thought that we would see a similar thing. They've still been rising, but we'll see what happens when the window closes for that. I still think that we have a good amount still to be minted as well. There's only 41% minted right now, so 73,000 out of 180,000. So still a lot to go there. That'll be interesting to watch there. Any final thoughts from you guys on this, or do we want to move on to the next topic here?
Just on the supply, I'll be shocked if 180,000 of these things met. And if that's the case, it just means that everyone was bot farming Jim and I was behind. And should have been doing along with them. But I mean, there's 5,000 active people here, max, like on a given day. Since this morning, only 5,000 have been minted. I think it was at like 68,000 before we did the show this morning. It's at 73,000. Granted, gas has been roughly high all day, so that might be a factor. But I don't know. I don't see the path to 180K, and I'm feeling more comfortable with my initial line of at 100,000 as the over/under for the total number here.
That number does seem like not to shit on Top Shot again, but when they said that they had 1 million active users or something, and then there's like 5,000 people like trading the same moments back and forth. So I'm shocked that there was 180,000 people that were eligible for that. But like you said, Tyler, I think that it might be a lot of people multi-walleting or just trying to optimize for some sort of airdrop that they thought was happening. Probably did not expect a free NFT that was worth $50, $100, but. Let's keep it moving. We saw on Monday a big circus. So on that brand for circus here, we've got some circus music. All right. And I even dug out this Tesla shirt that I happen to have in the bottom of my drawer here, just for the bit equity of being able to wear a Tesla shirt on our Elon segment here. So on Monday, Elon sent a tweet that kind of sent the NFT space into a frenzy here. And here's the tweet. And if you are in the NFT space, you might know the meme cards by 6529. So you might recognize that meme there. But honestly, it was pretty surreal to see one of the most well-known people in the world tweet this, millions and millions of followers. And he tweeted, the seize the memes of production from the memes by 6529 collection. No other context provided. He later deleted the tweet, which is a bit strange, but the impact it had on the memes collection was definitely significant. So in the minutes following the Elon's tweets, the meme market went absolutely wild. This card in particular saw a massive increase in value, and the floor of meme cards overall popped about 150%. The floor of memes surged from about 0.08 to 0.2 and then retraced all the way back down. So if you were able to get out, if you were looking for an exit, that was the time in that couple minute stretch there. And this specific Elon card here, I mean, look at this price action. There was barely any sales on it. That tweet goes out, and look at all that. There's even an 8 ETH sale there at the Pico top there. I'm sure that person's not feeling great about that purchase. But just wild price action there. So that settled back down to 1 ETH now, but that is just absolutely insane. It was a roller coaster for memes, meme collectors, and some speculate that Elon might not have even been fully aware of the meme at all and simply shared it because it fit his message. And I tend to be in that camp. If you Google seize the memes of production, which is something that Elon has tweeted previously, this is one of the first few memes that comes up. Regardless, I think that 6529 would definitely consider it a win, as the meme messages did their job by spreading without awareness of the NFT aspect, which is kind of what 6529 intended for the project from the beginning. In addition to that, we saw this new feature on Twitter, which was him changing the top logo there to a Doge. And of course, that affected the market as well. He also posted this, there we go, this meme talking about, that's an old photo. So this had a huge impact on the Doge cryptocurrency, and it spiked about 15% from 7 cents to 8.8 cents, and is now up 28% on the day to almost 0.1. Elon hasn't provided any official statements regarding the change, and it remains unclear how long this shift will be. But pretty wild stuff here. I took the screenshot right as it was going on, and that is a nice candle to see if you're trading that coin, unless you're a bear. But pretty wild there. So I'm curious to hear the group's reactions here on what you guys thought about Elon's antics on Monday. And do you think that he even knows about the NFT space and what's going on, or was it just a mistaken Google type image there? I'll start with let's go to Logan.
I think I wrote about this in the roundtable, which you can find on Lucky Trader as an article form as well. I think Elon is medium bored on Web3, and you'll have to do some Googling to learn a little bit more about that. I definitely think he is so keenly aware of. He's like on, ever present online, right? This guy knows everything that's happening online. He's a meme master. So I think there's a small chance that he knew, this meme had been present, especially because, if you look at it, right, the hand is holding a JPEG, it says JPEG. So with any tiny scrutiny of that image, you may have, been able to figure out that was an NFT if you didn't already know. But I do think the odds are probably quite low, and it was probably more or less just a kind of happenstance thing. Either way, I do think it's good, ultimately, exposure for, of course, 6529 and the memes. And I wouldn't be surprised to see more offshoots of that meme, either that one in particular or the one that Elon that you just shared. This is an old that one. I wouldn't be surprised to see something else memetic pop up as a result of this that does just exceptionally well in its wake. But and to me, it's just Elon being Elon, and the guy doesn't give a shit, and he just does whatever he wants, and whatever. I think it's fun and ultimately good overall for the market, but probably no lasting impacts of this particular episode.
The meme might have been fun, but every time I log into Twitter, seeing the Doge icon is no longer fun for me. And in fact, I have a growing anger against Doge and that meme and Dogecoin at this point. So we'll see how long it lasts. I hope it doesn't last all that much longer. I think regarding, go ahead.
I was just saying, I agree with you, Tyler, but that meme is fire. The last one, I didn't see that before. That cracked me up. That might have me on the Doge bandwagon. That's an old photo. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that meme is great. Just the dog itself is getting a little old.
I thought I saw somewhere that he had promised somebody he would do this at some point. Was that made up?
No, he did. He said it was one of the guys from the Reddit GameStop group, WSB chairman or someone along those lines. And he said that would be sick, is what he said, literally. And then he did it like months later or something.
It's pretty wild to have the richest person on the planet and probably the most influential person on the planet be just like an internet troll at the end of the day. So it's just always surreal to see this type of stuff. I'm curious, Tyler, I'm going to tee you up for this one because I know you were deep into the meme cards. I'm curious to what you think this says about the broader meme movement that 6529 has built. Like, is this exactly what he was kind of planning for?
I think so, right? And I think the fact that he likely spread this meme without knowing it was an NFT tied to the 6529 collection or really knowing the backstory, I think it is great, and that's in line with exactly what 6529 wants to do. So it's bullish for the concept of the memes. But then, like, if you think about this from a market perspective, which, this is a market show, a lot of people are buying and selling these things. Like, does it pay off to own the actual card? I'm not so sure anymore. I mean, this is like, we saw Beeple pump Nakamigos. That's like the number one thing that can like top an NFT project. It's like your grail moment. I mean, I think the only thing higher than that is Elon tweeting about your project. And like, if you needed any reminder of how brutal this bear market was, go back to that price chart. I mean, it went straight up, and that spike lasted for all of like 15 or 20 minutes. And
so when did he delete it though?
So he deleted it like that overnight, but the pump was already gone. So like I went up to pick up my kids, and I was thinking about listing some of my floor meme cards into the pump because they went from 0.08 to 0.2. It was already back at 0.12 by the time I was home, like 8 minutes later, and the buy interest had fallen off considerably. So seeing that reaction, it's tough from a market standpoint to be super bullish on investing into the cards, unless you just think that the long-term message will derive value back to the core NFT assets. But I'm not 100% sold on that. I mean,
if you were going to buy one though, like, does this not solidify that like this is the one you would buy? I know the price is still probably a little out of whack here, but
so I mean it went back down to 1 ETH, so it's back to a relatively affordable range compared to what it used to be, probably as one of the more grail meme cards, if I'm not mistaken, Tyler, between this one and the Nakamoto Freedom card.
Yeah, there's 1,000 of these as well. I'm looking at it right now.
This is a day one card, so there's only 3 cards minted on day one. So this one already had that going for it, which is part of the reason why it was 0.6, which is well above the meme card average. That probably puts it in the top 10 to 15 of the 80 plus. Now I think it's a top 5 card, and other than the Nakamoto, I could absolutely see this being like top 3.
I think there's another conversation entirely here, and that's why did Elon delete this? And my guess is that it's for legal reasons. And if it is for legal reasons and not just because he wanted to delete it, which would be weird, right? If overnight he was like, "Oh, I got to take those down because I don't agree with it anymore," or something. It's more than likely legal reasons. That's probably bad for this project, right? If your upside is that famous people use the meme, and then that's the upside of the whole project, right? Is that the meme catches fire, but that it's legally ambiguous to even just post it on Twitter with no context. He didn't say buy this. If it's legally ambiguous to do that, then that's definitely negative for the project.
They are CCO. So like there's actually free versions of the meme cards. So like all of the 6529 memes have like there's like a penny store where you can essentially pay like 1 Gwei and get the cards. So
right, there is like certain politicians and some people in the United States who are saying that like rocket emojis are financial advice at this point in time.
Yeah.
So memes could definitely be financial advice as well. And if the whole upside of the project is to share these and sharing them is legally ambiguous, I don't know.
Yeah, except the Trump news from this last week, it'll pump it regardless. It doesn't matter what the hell you do. So
I don't see the legal issue here with him just posting a random meme that is CCO. I mean, I get that it pumped the market like as a second order effect there, but I don't really feel like that's on him. Or like if I was the judge, I'd be like, well, he can post whatever he wants, and it's a CCO meme. Like that's well within his rights as a human. I don't know.
Right. I mean, I agree entirely. I'm just saying some judges are saying that you can't even post rocket emojis. So I don't think it's a huge step to say that his legal team was like, dude, you got to take this down now.
No, that's a good point. And I think we probably haven't seen the last of Elon's antics. It also reminded me of back when he was seen at a party with Guy Oseary, and there was like speculation that he was like nobody.eth, I think, or some big whale that was buying up a lot of the Yuga assets. So we're still waiting for Elon to make his reveal into the NFT space, or maybe he's Dingling or someone like that who's still anonymous in the space.
Well, you remember he changed his PFP to that whole Bored Ape collage at one point, and that was nuts. And that was like what? I mean, I guess maybe that was closer to a year ago, as I do a little search on our site. But yeah, I mean, he's going to do dumb shit like this. And if you're just on the right side of you happen to be looking at your phone at the right time, you can do really, really well. Elon tweet alerts probably like not the worst possible thing to have on as people actively participating in a very, very heavily speculation-driven market.
So we'll keep moving on. We'll hear more from Elon, I'm sure, as the year goes on here. But I want to move on to the big Yuga news that we saw this week, which was a collaboration with Gucci on a new chain. A new chain because they were saying they were going to move different chains, but then it's actually a necklace. I don't know if that went over your guys' heads or not. I thought that was pretty clever. Anyway, all right. So in other exciting news this week, Gucci and Yuga Labs announced an limited edition collaboration combining the world of luxury fashion with the NFT space. So here was the announcement here, and we've got KodaPendants coming. These are 3,333 limited edition pendant NFTs. They're a claim for holders of Kodas or vessels. The sale starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, lasting for 24 hours or until the KodaPens are sold out. The price is $458. I think is roughly around $2,000 there. And the physical KodaPendant is made out of 925 silver, featuring an antique finish, GG engraving, and a unique edition number. The NFT will also provide a digital visual upgrade to an existing Koda or vessel NFT, including Trail VFX and a branded chat handle on the other side. So there are some digital benefits there. Here's another look at Koda and a pendant there. And here's some other announcements here. We can also infer that the decoupling of Kodas and vessels could happen pretty much any second now or sometime tomorrow, because we know that vessel holders will be eligible for this drop. And if that's at 6 p.m., they need to do that soon. It was also interesting to see some lore mixed into the announcement. I have a little snippet from their site there, and it says to honor and commemorate the other side's creation, Blue, which is the main Koda there that we've seen in the other side, carves each of these precious chips of obelisk into a familiar shape, that of the bottle that contained the blue fluid from when the other side began. So these relics are kind of tied in some way to the lore of the other side. It's not just a one-off chain here. So I thought that was pretty cool. Curious to hear your guys' thoughts there on if you're interested in buying one of these. If you do have a Koda, I'm not sure if anyone here does. I have one. I'm not interested in buying at the moment. And curious to hear if anyone has any predictions on what the price action will be.
I had a Koda and sold it pretty early on. I don't regret that decision at this point in time. If I still had my Koda, I would not be buying this either. Just not me. Like, I don't know how else to better describe that. I was doing some research on eBay actually earlier today in preparation for the roundtable about like secondhand Bored Ape Yacht Club collectible stuff, which this would ultimately be, right? At least the physical pendant. And there's still like some randomly good sales activity there. So I can certainly see people wanting to make a play there, or if you're just like a really big Yuga fanboy, or girl, fangirl, like interest in buying this. But I think it's pretty silly overall. I do expect it to sell out very quickly, like all Yuga things do.
I think it's only Yuga though. By the way, I think that if you're like a super Gucci freak, these are kind of cool. I mean, I wouldn't wear it, but like if you were wearing Gucci frequently, or if you were going to an event that required you to wear something crazy, Met Gala type thing, but not that high level, I mean, I'd buy it.
We've seen some ridiculous Yuga maxis too, and like I always think back to like the Mutant Poppy proposal and seeing like the clothes that some of those guys wear. I could see a lot of them being decked out in a Gucci chain of their Coda or something like that.
I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg will own one of these. Like I'm fairly confident. Give it a couple weeks, Snoop Dogg will have one of these.
I'm going to pull up at the Gucci online store. I'm going to find every product under $2,000, and I'm going to tell you, like, it's going to be a better buy than this Coda necklace, which is absolutely absurd looking. So it's funny that they call it KodaPendants. They're already branding it as the term codependent. And anyone who buys this is telling the world that they are in fact codependent on Yuga for their station in life, for their level of happiness, for this telling them what to do. So I thought it was funny that they used that term. As for the price action, it's clear a bearish signal here is they open this up to all the other deed owners, all 100,000 who will be getting the vessels. Someone up there didn't think they could sell out the 3,333 with just the Coda base. And that person probably deserves a raise because I think they're right. There's no way they would have sold this out with just the Coda holders. They will absolutely sell it out with the entire other deed base filled in. And then I guess at the next 8 Fest, we're going to see a bunch of guys running around with these Coda necklaces on. And we'll
It's better than the Tiffany necklaces. They look so bad. They're horrendous. I've seen it in real life.
What was the cost of those? Those were like 50 ETH or something.
30 ETH.
Yeah, $50,000, I think, about.
Those made way more sense to me. I can't speak to the quality of the physicals. I haven't seen those, but having one of the most iconic NFTs on a chain for someone who's rich makes sense to me.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I disagreed with the take. I think the Tiff Punks look better anyway. They're like real diamonds and shit too.
Yeah,
it's like
they're way better.
Real stuff.
And the NFT is way better, right? So you're gonna have the Coda. It's the third best NFT in the Yuga ecosystem right now. It may not even be the third best, much longer based on how some of these plot lines are progressing here. So I don't know. I'm out on the codependents.
I do think one interesting point that I've actually brought this up on the Lucky Lead this morning was the price point might seem like kind of garish when you look at it at face value with the USD, but I don't think you should underestimate like the ape being like play money. And it's almost like for the people, I used to have my ape, I got the full max allocation. I staked a lot of it, and like 450 just doesn't sound like that much. And I remember it during the different merch drops where it's just like, oh yeah, like here's some more ape coin, like, oh, this is 50 ape coin, this is 100 ape coin. So I think it's a lot different psychologically. We always talk about how ETH and USD are different, but then you've got another extra layer here where it's like ape is even less than ETH in my mind. So it's like not that hard to spend. So I do think that these will sell out interesting very quickly. And it'll be interesting to see. And I'm curious to hear from you guys. I guess Tiffany's was another one, but have there been any other like luxury brand collaborations that you've seen that have executed really well? And I'm curious how this one ranks like in your mind compared to the others.
This would be, I think, like number 2 for me. Dolce has a project of its own with physical redemptions and stuff. I have not seen anybody aside from Pranksy talk about it and or buy it. I actually hold one of those stupid boxes just as a result of actually owning something Pranksy owned or something. I don't know exactly how I got it, but nothing good has come of it. But I would put this ahead of those types of things. Tiff, this, Dolce below that. I don't know if there's any other notable. I'm so boring and plain. I wear Target run pants and like long sleeve t-shirts. I don't know anything about luxury clothes.
Well, we've got a new one coming here in this next week with Bugatti and their collab with Asprey. They're launching these digital eggs on Bitcoin. Min price is 20,000, 20 to 50K range, and then they've got a luxury top end that's going to start at 200,000. So the Bitcoin NFT scene, we'll see how much demand there is for a major brand over there. But if they pull that off, they've made their stamp as one of the premier brands, having some real success in the luxury NFT market.
Logan, if you had to pick one clay NFT to go on a Gucci pendant that you would wear forever, which one would you choose?
Damn, that's a really tough one. Lucky Duckies are so cute, but Claynos have like a little bit of a modern vibe. I'd need to see some cutouts first. It's too close to call. I think if I had to really make a pick, it'd be Lucky Ducky first, Claynos second. There's some other clay NFTs in there as well, by the way. Some that just haven't really risen to the occasion, like those Gumby looking ones. Do you know what I'm talking about? I think they might be called Clay Boys. Do you remember those?
I vaguely, but whatever they are, they're not rising up anytime soon. I'll tell you that.
No one knows what the hell Clay Boys are. Logan, get out of here with Clay Boys.
Dude, they look pretty cool. You guys know what Gumby is, right? That's a real thing, right?
Yes, we know what Gumby is.
Okay. My pop culture, I'm not like super great, so I'm just making sure. I think it was called Clay Boys. I'm gonna be doing some research after the show, I guess.
While you research that, can I just say like what collection would look great on luxury pendants? Ghost, I think you might know where I'm going with this. The Nakamigos, the color on these pixel art, beautiful PFPs, just lend themselves.
Feels like a good time to bring up CT's comment here, and this is actually just a 3D rendering of my Nakamigo. It's not actually my face right now, so we do look very similar, though. That was part of the reason why I vibed with the collection, is because pretty much all of them have backwards hats and beards, which is so I just have a bunch of different wardrobe changes with like 5 of my Nakamitos.
Is there actually a good, I'm sorry, I know you're going to segue away from this, but like, is there actually a good NFT that would look good on things? Like, I think the answer is probably really not, or at least not many.
I just gave you one.
Yeah.
Wasn't even listening.
Pudgy's definitely. I gotta say one more thing about Yuga before we move on, because this last weekend was WrestleMania, and Snoop Dogg was the host of WrestleMania, and he wore Bored Ape Yacht Club clothing on WrestleMania to a sold-out SoFi Stadium. 85,000 people, 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row. Most of their user base is children, and no one batted an eye. That's how ingrained in culture Yuga already is. So just wanted to say that.
That's pretty bullish, and I didn't even see that happened. I actually saw highlights that he was at the wrestling thing, and I didn't even notice he was wearing that. And it's kind of funny to compare it to 2021, where like one celebrity would be spotted on a random TikTok or something with anything like ape in the background, and everyone just goes nuts, and the floor pumps like 20%. So, like you said, it's ingrained. So bullish on Yuga there. But I want to get on to our final topic here: a departure from art from a notable artist here. So that was a rendering of the intersection of art and finance there. So that's what the machine came up with. But so the final topic here, contemporary artist DotPigeon was in the news this past Monday, as the artist noted that they will be taking a break from NFTs. The decision shed light and sparked a lot of conversation in the community on the growing concerns in the space over the financialization of art and what the current metas and market dynamics kind of mean for artists there. DotPigeon shared their concerns. Let me pull up. There we go. This is DotPigeon's tweet that announced his departure there. He shared his concerns about the NFT market's focus on trends and market dynamics, which he felt detracted from the art itself. And he said that he is returning to create art on canvas, which is the medium that they began their career with. And while it's not a permanent departure, he said he intends to participate in selected NFT projects more consciously and selectively. I'll read a quote here. I still believe in the NFT's potential to change the way we think about and interact with art, but the current landscape is full of unhealthy dynamics and too much emphasis on sales and gimmicks, and I don't want to be part of that kind of culture. So a lot of people use this as an opportunity to rehash the conversation around art versus financialization. And others, like notable collector Sergito, really called out the artist for profiting off the exact things that he was calling out himself. So here's one of DotPigeon's collections here on OpenSea. And he's had some big sales there. So it definitely was no stranger to making money on NFTs. And here's Sergito's kind of clapback at him. So he kind of was saying that he claiming that the trends and market dynamics are not what you signed up for when you were one of the artists that was profiting off of it, is not a great message there. So a lot of polarizing opinions from both sides. DotPigeon later clarified and backtracked a bit, saying that he isn't leaving the space completely. And he said, right now, I think that my goals for my artistic career, it's better to focus on projects instead of being part of copycats of meme card drops, which I found interesting there. So here's one of his drop things, which I think was the one that Sergito posted. So you kind of see a lot of Ponzi-nomic type things, not great mechanics. So I don't know. In my personal opinion, it kind of feels like he did this to himself there. There have definitely been a lot of successful artists that have different drop mechanics that seem to work out and align more with both the artist and the investors there. But curious to hear the group's thoughts here on how you're feeling about the balance between art and financialization that we're seeing, and was a move like this kind of sour grapes over the markets, or is it kind of a justified issue that we should grapple with?
Well, it just sounds whiny to me. I mean, the whole point of NFTs is to make more money for artists. That's why they're doing it. And the market's going to market. And if you think that if you want to go back and do canvas art, that's cool. You don't have to make a huge announcement. Just go do it.
I want to call out before we continue that this was the floor price of his collection on OpenSea there. So the market did not like the news of his potential departure there.
My first reaction was GTFO, dude, you did all the things that you're complaining about, but now just listening to us talk about it, I've gone a full 180, and is this just a brilliant marketing ploy by DotPigeon? We are talking about him. He's been one of probably the most talked about artists in the NFT and Twitter, at least for this week.
Let's go back one slide. Maybe a little more. Go back to the ETH, his project's downslope. I'm not sure that I would call that great marketing.
Well, he definitely did get his name out there. I mean, I had never really heard of DotPigeon, to be honest, prior to this. I'm not sure if Tyler might have. I know you're much more into the art scene. No, not from you either.
I hadn't, so that's why I think it's smart. It's he doesn't care about the price action.
Yeah, but Satoshi was smart. Oh, I'm leaving. This will be my last ever drop. Give me a bunch of money before I go. That was smart. This is just complaining, and then your price fell off the map.
So do we feel like these are challenges that the artist needs to adjust to themselves, or do we as the NFT space need kind of a significant change?
Yeah, I think this is not to pick on DotPigeon, but this to me is a potentially important issue. Not in this particular instance. I don't want to focus on DotPigeon in particular, but the scary part is the financialization is a huge component. Jason, talked about isn't part of this being able to allow artists access to more capital and to better liquidity that doesn't exist in traditional art. I think the answer is yes. I think there are definitely challenges when financialization is so much a part of everything that happens that it would be and could be intimidating for new people to enter the space. And that's a little bit more of my concern from the artist's perspective, is that are artists going to be turned off if they hear from others like DotPigeon, who I believe is quite notable beyond NFTs as well. Are they going to be turned off and be afraid to come innovate because of this overbearing concept of financialization? Or will they feel like DotPigeon felt when he first entered and be excited at the prospect of having a new pool of potential buyers and also access to lots and lots of money that perhaps they would not have had traditional access to? So I think it's a big conversation, and the Blur stuff fits right in with it as well, right? Many people have talked about the removing the non-fungible tokens with just trading like shitcoins, etc. it's going to continue to be a challenge, in my opinion. We'll have more marketplaces like Escher and Sansa and, maybe Babylon, perhaps step up to be more art focused and to focus more so on the art itself. But there will need to be some sort of balance from both perspectives, the artists and the market participants, in my opinion.
Go ahead. I disagree a little bit. I think the only reason artists might be upset who aren't here yet is upset that DotPigeon and everyone in the 2023 Open Edition meta just took all the ETH and no one's got any left to buy their art for this next cycle until this inevitably repeats itself, and it will absolutely do that. I think we've already seen these art cycles play out. I think the NFT technology is working, and why part of the reasons why it makes sense for digital art is because of all the types of functionality it unlocks different from the traditional art space. Things like burns, that enable performance art to take place, which would be much harder to do in the traditional space. Putting all the other functionality aside from the ease of buying and selling, the ability to connect with a market across the world 24/7. So I'm as bullish on ever for the use cases of NFTs for the art space. And I think DotPigeon is just some noise here.
Yeah, I wanted to share this tweet. Someone posted this under Sergito's response, which I thought was a really good quote here from Patrick, who's a very esteemed NFT artist here. And he says, fish with art and you find collectors who care about your art. Fish with mechanics and you find collectors who like mechanics. Fish with money incentives and you find flippers. Long run, you want people aligned with your vision, and it starts with realizing that you catch what you bait for. So I thought that was an interesting point. But I think we have seen a lot of examples of artists who have found the right methods in the space and are still able to thrive. So I don't think it's like there's no possible corner for these artists to turn to. You just need to make sure that you're doing the right ones that align with like how you want to grow.
Yeah, that's a super awesome quote from Patrick Amadon. And I think the only thing I would add is that to add some context there is it's all about narrative, at least in my opinion. I think that's a little bit of what he's suggesting is like the way in which you're promoting, the way in which you're seeking to engage, what's kind of that core purpose, or at least some of the fundamental purposes of why you're doing so. And it's going to lend you to the people that you're ultimately, performing for or with. And that's the scary part, I guess, what I was suggesting with new entrants is if there's an overbearing narrative, I'm not suggesting that's the case now, but if there's an overbearing narrative that like, this financialization exhaustion type thing, you may get people that are, unwilling to come in and focus on just the art for the art because of those concerns. Whereas hopefully people just come in to try to find what they want to find.
Sort of what I meant in the roundtable when I said we sort of conflated NFTs with JPEGs or attached to some art or attached to something, but they can be attached to anything. NFT is just a technology, and you can use that technology towards whatever end you want to use it towards. And even if you're painting on canvas, you could take the canvas and attach it to an NFT and proof of ownership and whatever. If you don't want people to financialize your art or whatever, of course you do. I mean, I don't understand why any artist wouldn't want people to value their art and pay money for it. But if you think the market dynamics are shifting to a place where you don't want to participate, then don't participate. But I mean, like, you don't have to make an announcement about it. It's fine. And if you don't want to participate and you want to do something else, then build that community somewhere else and use the NFT technology and the Web3 blockchain technologies to do that elsewhere.
Yeah. And I'll say, just from my own personal experience, as someone who never would have considered buying a piece of art up until 2 years ago when I discovered NFTs, like I just was not into art. I would have never imagined buying any sort of like major purchase. And now I've found a lot of artists that I like and buy because I do like the art. And I also enjoy the potential upside of speculating on it as well. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse, I guess. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about the financialization as a curse, but I think it's unlocked a lot of new art collectors, which is great for the space. Regardless if they're there for profit, I'm sure that there's a lot of people in the traditional art space that are buying up artists that they think are good because they want it to go up in value. So it's really just digitizing the same form of what probably a lot of traditional artists are already dealing with and kind of just changing the mechanics a little bit into the digital age. but good conversation there, and I think that the jury's still out on how a lot of artists are feeling and the ultimate direction we're going there. But I think we're ready to go ahead.
The way that artists are feeling about this is completely irrelevant. I think you create your art and you put it out there, and after that, it's not really yours anymore. And if you don't like the way that people are treating it, too bad. I just don't. It's a conversation for artists to have, and they can complain until their face turns blue, and the market's going to market. So.
And the idea of art is also changing a lot with, like, you see people like Jack Butcher who are kind of putting like the mechanisms out there for people to create their own art. And once he puts that out there, it's kind of out of his hands of what people are generating for like checks or what we're going to see eventually with OpenSea, I think. But kind of interesting dynamics there. So like you said, once it's out of your hands, it's a lot tougher to control what's going on with it. But I think we're ready to wrap. Any closing thoughts, guys? 30 seconds around the horn. Anything pressing on your mind, Tyler?
This week I'm a little bit lighter. We've got a few major events. We've got the decoupling of the Kodas and the vessels coming here later this afternoon. That's something I'm going to be watching. The Metaverse Fashion Week for Decentraland was a huge bust. Probably going to write that up for tomorrow morning, but I guess attendance was down about 76%, which is probably even less than the floor of those Metaverse plots is down. So it goes to show that the hot Metaverse today and next month might not be so hot in 2 or 3 years.
Was that in Decentraland? You said?
Yes.
Yeah, it's strange to me as the group of us that is dealing with NFTs all day, every day. You just don't hear much about like that platform or what's going on there. So that number doesn't surprise me that the parade attendance or whatever that is down that much, or not the parade, the fashion show.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Wait, you have one? You have one?
Yeah. Well, I prepared it because Tyler got on my case about it last week. It's actually a little bit about metaverses, the foodie metaverse of sorts. I think a lot of people might have seen the Papa John's headlines. Talked a little bit about it on the Morning Minute this morning. You can, of course, find us there 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, to talk about more things NFTs. But spending a lot of time thinking about food in the metaverse, not in particular like food, for your Decentraland character or anything, but just manifestations of loyalty programs and stuff in with dynamic NFTs in Web3. And I was skeptical of some of these things. I was skeptical of Starbucks and Odyssey and didn't really pay it too much attention. And the last few days I've been spending a little bit more time in learning about these things. And I'm like cautiously optimistic and bullish about some of the potential opportunities and the infrastructure being laid down there. So I'm excited to kind of explore some of these a bit more in the future.
Are you going to be crafting any pizzas in the metaverse? I'm
not going to be crafting any pizzas. The recipes don't really quite fit me, and Papa John's is quite literally the worst possible pizza that you could get as well. So no, I'm not going to be doing that. But I am interested in keeping my mind open, staying medium bored, dare I say, about Web3 loyalty, food, restaurant crossover type stuff.
I said that about Papa John's pizza on the morning show this morning, and Tyler was surprised by that. I thought that wasn't that hot of a take. Papa John's is just awful.
I don't think it's a hot take. I was probably muted at the time, so was unable to join your side. But it is quite literally, objectively, the worst pizza.
That being said, if Papa John's ever wants to partner with Lucky Trader on an NFT program, I will take back everything I said.
Little Caesars is way worse, no doubt.
I think my wife has the Papa John's app on her phone. We are a big Papa John's house. So
the garlic sauce is good. The pizza is not.
You're in Chicago, one of the pizza capitals of the world, and you've got a Papa John's app on your phone. That's like sacrilegious, I feel like.
Casserole capitals, Chicago pizza.
This is an argument for another time. Jason, any final thoughts here? Anything going on in the AI space? Maybe you want to plug Lucky Lens?
Yeah, I do actually want to plug Lucky Lens. That's exactly what I was going to do. I do want to say real quick to Logan that I wouldn't be medium bored on dynamic NFTs influencing the restaurant space. I would be not bored at all. I'd be super excited about that. I think that's like, besides ticketing, besides Ticketmaster and Event Sevenfold, the number one area for NFTs to innovate in over the next couple of years. But I do want to plug Lucky Lens. Our new Tyler is calling it the Chat GPT of Web3. It's similar to Chat GPT, except for that it takes all the content that Lucky Trader has published to date and spits back information that ChatGPT can't give you about the Web3, NFT, and blockchain space. And we're giving out beta access to up to 100 people over the next 2 days. I believe it'll be released tomorrow, tentatively. And go to Twitter and retweet, and comment beta on the thread. You'll be able to find it to get beta access. It's very, very cool. Tyler's been sharing a few screenshots. I think the Lucky Trader HQ account's been sharing a few screenshots, and it should be wildly helpful for writers and just NFT enthusiasts in general.
Love it. On that note, I think that's our show for the week, guys. If you like this content and want more of our hot takes, make sure you check out the Roundtable article we posted earlier today. We hashed out a lot of the same topics and more there. And then check out Tyler, myself, and Logan on the Lucky Lead every morning on Twitter Spaces at 10 a.m. Eastern or in podcast form after. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back. I think we're going to be off next week with Tyler you're at NFT NYC. I think Jason's out as well. But we'll probably pick it back up the week after that. But thanks for watching, everyone, and we are out.